13 knockouts, 3 submissions, 7 decisions. Is Michael Venom Page any good? Point-style kickboxing and karate do not come up often in elite-level MMA, but Michael Venom Page has put together quite a serious career and never found difficulty finding the spotlight. He does not play by the rules and fights hands down, heavily bladed and purposefully playing possum all fight long. Most knockouts in Bellator history with 11, most of Page's success came from, yes, crushing cans, but that's fine. He's here now, and apart from a questionable loss to Ian Gary, it's looking like we are in for a real treat, even though he is 38 years old. It's a shame they haven't booked him versus Wonderboy yet to see who the best karate fighter really is, because I think that one has sadly passed us by. Page does not rely on fundamentals or volume, and instead fully commits to single strikes in the form of unpredictable blitzes. This includes flying knees, tornado kicks, and spinning elbows, to name a few. Like seriously, how did Kevin Holland eat this elbow, but get sent flying by D-Rod's hooks? Make it make sense. Page built a career off of his wacky movement and never being touched, and giving us some of the most brutal knockouts the sport has ever seen. After seeing the so-called elite level of the B-Leagues transition into the UFC, most have not lived up to their past accomplishments in lesser promotions. Just a few months ago, Patchy Mix was touted as one of, if not the best bantamweight on the planet, and look how that went. Now after losing his debut to contender Mario Bautista, quite clearly he is mocked amongst the entire MMA fanbase, and his former reign in the PFL is now shrouded with doubt. But MVP stands out amongst them because of, for one, a successful debut, but also having one of the most unorthodox styles you will ever see in modern-day MMA. A vicious KO loss at the hands of Douglas Lima sort of brought him back to reality, but he then outpointed Lima and won by split decision, settling the score. You can call him a can crusher, but me personally, I enjoy seeing him play with his food and get away with clip farming, but it's a lot harder to do that now that he's in the UFC. I really like his last win over Shara Bullet, who is a really respectable stand-up fighter, and now they're giving him Jared Cannoneer, which I think is a fight that will sadly be a one-sided decision, but actually makes sense for both of their careers. And get this, MVP, a welterweight, is taller and longer than Cannoneer, a former heavyweight. Will Jared win with his physicality or Page with his elusiveness? Page is automatically one of my favorites because he has a style that is truly his own and has the possibility to send people packing and inflict ungodly amounts of damage. But is he deeply flawed in that he neglects the fundamentals in order to shine bright as an entertainer, or is there a method to his madness, and could we see him actually realize a title before he turns 40? Let's take a look. Michael Venom Page, a lanky blitz striker who snake charms opponents into brutal KO finishes. Striking accuracy, 62%. This is the big thing with Michael Venom Page. He dials in like no one else and keeps everyone on notice. Not saying he doesn't miss, but he spent the majority of his life in point karate competitions, kickboxing, boxing, all of the striking disciplines. This is his strongest attribute. But a painfully low output of 2.5 significant strikes per minute. He lulls the fight down to this tit-for-tat, gentle pace until he springs into strikes. So this, in a sense, is his weakest attribute and has led him to close split decisions and even losses before. Some may find it boring as all get out. I can respect the science behind it. Strikes absorbed per minute, 1.7. Extremely low. This speaks to his evasive footwork. Takedown average of 0.3, submission average of 0. Takedown accuracy, 20%. Not much to speak on grappling-wise when it comes to MVP, except for a crazy Achilles lock submission back in Bellator, albeit against a can. Strike defense of 55%, takedown defense of 64%. Page is trying to avoid being touched entirely, so this isn't terribly low, but yeah. Knockdown average of 0.3, low stat because his UFC career just began. This doesn't really speak to how dangerous he really is, but I think we are seeing him trend more towards being a decision fighter now, as opposed to the knockout artist he was allowed to be in Bellator against low-level comp. Average fight time, 9 minutes, 53 seconds. Strengths, elite range control, hard to read, knockout power. MVP is at his best when against somebody who can't close the distance at the elite level. His constant goofiness paired with his lethal strikes create a lot of timidity in his adversary. Then once they do try to come through the range, he's already made a plethora of reads against them and can easily land a heavy counter. Weaknesses: low output, weak wrestling. MVP is weak when opponents fully trust their defense and walk him down. He needs space to stay ahead, and even a serviceable wrestler can present him real issues if they close that gap because, well, he's kind of a string bean. He's very twiggy. Like Kevin Holland and Ian Gary aren't really the biggest powerhouses, and they're getting your back straight away. Yeah, we got problems. Best performance: taking Shara Bullet's undefeated record. This is one of my top masterclasses of the year. Go watch it. MVP completely played with Shara, took his O, and just had a great time in the cage, goofing off, showboating. Yes, I know he has only one eye, but still, this was Page playing with his food. I challenge you to watch the fight and tell me where you think he even got hit in the head. I don't think he got cleanly hit with a punch for the entire 15 minutes. It's incredibly impressive. Shara kicked the lead leg well, but Page was ready for it. Had no effect on him. Classic Page performance, except with no finish. Being fully bladed, dodging, running away, and just stinging Shara whenever he crossed that line and entered range. Yes, no finish, but flashy rolling thunder and up kicks at the end of the fight. And before you go and call Shara a fraud, yes, I know he has one eye, but he was 15-0 before this, and had UFC wins against Armen Petrosian, which is why we can't really discredit it. This was a masterclass. Whether fans recognize that or not, you heard it here first. If you want to see a masterclass, go check this one out on Fight Pass. Most fun, him landing a brutal jump knee on Cyborg Santos. A knockout like none other. You've probably seen it 100 times by now, depending on how long you've been a fan for, but this knee landed so hard on the aggressing Santos that it fractured his skull, and retired him from the sport, sadly. Next level damage. As for the fight, one thing that is quite heavily glossed over because of the nasty finish is that MVP didn't have a great first round, and was taken down and controlled by Cyborg. Big red flag. But out at range, the speed and feints are so problematic for most strikers. MVP dishes out little baits and little fakes rapidly, overloading the mind of his opponent, then makes a read and fully commits to it. This was back when he was just 29 years old, and he was ultra fast. He's nowhere near this level of speed and flair now, but he's still got that pop and still got that creativity in his striking arsenal. Upcoming matchup, Jared Cannoneer. Cannoneer should not be able to catch MVP. I know he cooked against RoboCop Rodriguez after surviving early damage, but MVP is a different type of challenge entirely. My advice would be not to be technical and instead maraud forward like Trevor Peek, because he can't outpoint MVP. He couldn't outpoint Adesanya, not even close. And as for Page, just run your usual game. I know he's 38, but he's still crazy light on his feet and hasn't shown signs of regressing in the stand-up, having just completely shut down Shara Bullet, which I rate. Cannoneer's what, 43? The Cannoneer of old would absolutely pull people into dogfights, but if the Adesanya fight showed us anything, it's that fighters that prioritize range and distance, they can figure him out pretty easily. But I love Jared, so I hope this isn't the end for him once he does take this loss. And who knows? Maybe Cannoneer brings out some new crystals this time, and changes things up. So, is Michael Venom Page any good? He is absolutely in a league of his own in a pure striking fight. He forces you out at range and overloads your risk management system as he just Gatling guns out little feints and fakes at you. Once he's got you timid, he'll start to open up with incredible dangerous blitz attacks, unpredictable spinning moves, everything. And I'm kind of torn because he's getting here pretty late. I personally don't see him landing many more great KOs, but instead building impressive point leads and just coasting to decisions. But go watch his Prime. It's all over YouTube for free on the Bellator YouTube channel. It's essentially just him styling on taxi drivers in Bellator, but still, very fun to watch him operating at 100% and floating like a butterfly and stinging like a bee. As always, thank you guys for watching. Drop your favorite Michael Venom Page moment down below. MMA makes no fucking sense, but I'm out here trying to put it all together. Until next time.